Okay, thank you. We'll call the meeting to order. And before we get started, I want to note one agenda change and make sure everybody's okay with it. We're going to move old business up to the second item because the person that we need to hear from has an earlier stop, and I want to make sure that we're able to bring that in on the actuarial stuff. So let's open the meeting. And does anybody have any questions? Or let me back up. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from July?
So moved.
We have a second.
Ted Lampton, I'll second.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions regarding the minutes? If none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, now let's go to old business.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the old business, one of the things the board asked for was kind of a reporting on our last 5 years of claims. So we sent out a separate report, and I think Karen's also going to share that document on your screens. If you can't see that, let us know. But this essentially will show you a breakdown of each agency within the pool and how many claims we've paid, cumulative, recovered, total incurred, and then the total amount, the total claim amount, as well as a breakdown of an average cost per claim. You can kind of see that. And then if you flip over, there's also a chart that just kind of also breaks down those total incurred and claim count by agencies. Primarily the largest, and then you'll see an aggregate all others for those. So kind of these are our largest agencies with the most claims. I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have, but wanted to present this information to you pursuant to your request.
Go back to the
First page?
yes, please, if you don't mind. Sorry. I don't think I have any questions, but I don't have any questions per se about the chart. What I have is a question about interpretation of the chart. Is there anything on this chart that looks like an aberration based on historical information? Because I know this goes back. That's a really broad question, so forgive me.
Yes, sir. I don't think there's an aberration. I think that what this chart shows, for those of us who deal with the torts, I think it pans out what we know. Our two largest agencies in terms of claims, or maybe not in terms of number of claims, but actual payouts, are the Department of Transportation, obviously, and then for the Department of Public Safety, for obvious reasons.
That's kind of always.
And that is a traditional.
And that's what I thought. And occasionally we may have an extraordinary claim in a given year that would spike some other agents.
That's correct. Okay. And then we also have the actuary online. Matt, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Great.
And we also had two other questions related to the assets change.
Before you go on to that, I'd like to say just a little bit about the claims, if I may.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, so I was looking at it too in advance of the call, and to give it some additional color, the Department of Transportation has been it's been consisting about 75%, about 3 out of every 4 of your claims in terms of number of claims is coming from MDOT. And then you see there the Department of Health it's got a big number in terms of claim count, but we all know that's the large multi-claimant water situation. So if you remove that, then we're looking at the two other biggest as the public safety and wildlife and fisheries, who each bring about 5% of your claims. And then the rest of them really just trickle in and contribute a pretty small number. So when we were here in July and talking about a drop in your claim count, It's hard to explain exactly why or what happened, especially because you just effective May 2024 moved all of your claims over to CCMSI, and that always comes with some potential shakeup in terms of how they classify claims, how they report them, count them. There are a number of ways to define all of these things for claim counts. So that can cause some of it, but what we are definitely seeing is that the drop in claims in the latest year is coming from the Department of Transportation, which is, again, what you'd expect. The other ones contribute so few claims relatively that they can't move the needle that much. So it is MDOT that's really coming down.
All right, Matt, I want to ask you a question. You said something about the water claims in the Department of Health. Can you
Yes, sir.
elaborate what you meant by that?
So in this, if you still see this exhibit, the Department of
No.
No.
We're talking about the claim count,
Yeah.
2,358.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Which is about the seventh line, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's all right. I think I've answered my own question. Thank you.
Great. All right.
And so that was one of the questions that the board had. They wanted this data. They also asked why we were seeing the trend of claims going down. I think Matt answered that. And then for the second part of the board's request was related to the asset question. Matt, can you go ahead and deal with that?
Well, we are still trying to sort out the details in this a little bit. We were having discussion beforehand with the administration and talking to Lori about it. And what we were able to do is compare over the last few years, looking at your income statements, what really changed, why the amount of cash would have come down. And the assessment that you're bringing in each year has been very consistent. The investment income obviously changes year over year, but it hadn't moved massively. Your claim payments for each of the last couple of years have increased some, but not enough to really tell the whole story. So what we're seeing is that there are some transfers of funds as they were classified, some transfers of funds out for loans or grants that increased a little bit. But then also there was a transfer of funds in the previous year that wasn't present last year. And I think that may be just not an accounting trick per se, but it may be some detailed bit of archaic accounting that I'm not as familiar with, and we might have to discuss more with the board administration to figure out exactly why that might have happened or how to better explain it and give color to the board members.
And Matt, our understanding is that those are unused funds from one fiscal year that roll over. They're held during the lapse period for payment of any invoices occurred during that fiscal year. And then after that period, the lapse period closes, those funds roll over into the next year's bucket. So it's not actually transfer as much as just a rollover.
It's not a general fund account.
That's right. That's right. So I hope that kind of answers the board's questions. If there's any other confusion, we're happy to take those and get you an answer for the next session, or try to answer them now.
Bryce, are you on the call? Yep. Okay, because he's the one that. Okay.
Well, we're happy to take those questions at any time that the board wishes.
Thank you, Matt.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, any other questions before we move on? All right, Amanda, if you will bring us up to date on certificates of coverage.
Okay, we have 17 entities requesting approval for certificates of coverage. One being Oktibbeha County, Oktibbeha Regional Medical Center.
Mhm.
They are no longer, Baptist has purchased them. So within the last couple of weeks, I've been in contact with their attorney at Butler Snow, JD Cooley. He is sort of administering their transfer. I've gotten all the documents that I've requested for him. They're going to transfer all of their claims to a TPA, and I have the contract, the signed contract. The county administrator is going to be overseeing the TPA and all the claims. We have verified funds. They're going to be overfunded into their account that they're going to be paying all the claims out of. I do have, they're gonna have to change banks, but I have the Cadence Bank statement showing that they're gonna be overfunded and they're gonna be going to Bank First, or I cannot remember the name of the bank. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but they can't move the money over from Cadence until the deal closes on September 30th. So I have all the documents in line. I just need the board to give us an okay to issue them a certificate. It will be issued to Oktibbeha County, Mississippi, instead of OCH Regional Medical Center.
We wanted to bring this particular certificate of coverage to the board since it is not your
Yeah,
normal.
the hospital is no longer, is gonna be,
That's right.
is cease and desist on this.
Well, and I'm glad we brought it up because I'm not going to say it's going to be a trend. I'm not saying anything, but it could happen again. And at least we know about it now and there won't be as many questions next time. Does anybody have questions regarding this particular certificate? Okay, then I will entertain a motion to move forward with this transaction as outlined by man. Second?
I'll make the second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay. Gordon?
The finances as of August 31st, with a revenue of $83,000, expenses $708,000. Our cash on hand is $5.5 million, reserves $9.6 million. And we'll begin invoicing the assessments for $4.7 million this month.
Anybody have any questions regarding the financials? Comments? Thank you so much for your report.
Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Lori for her service to the board. She's going to be transitioning to another position within the agency. And so just wanted to recognize her and her service, as well as introduce Cheryl Wallace to the board. She is going to be working with us to look at finances and also maybe changing some financial processes and potentially the way that we present finances to the board in the future.
Well, first of all, thank you for your service and we wish you the very best. And thank you for everything that you've done for the board and for the state. And we welcome you and look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move to the investment report. Jeff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think I can see y'all all there. You look like little G.I. Joe men down there. If you look in your packet, there's the executive summary from Trinity to management that we send on a monthly basis. You'll see at the end of August, the portfolio had grown to just a touch over $14 million. Now, the numbers we're reporting today are year-to-date numbers as opposed to fiscal year. The fiscal year numbers are somewhat immaterial right now from the investment portfolio. So you will be seeing these numbers between now and in November on a year-to-date basis. As we begin, it's worth noting that yesterday, as we all are aware, the Fed did lower interest rates. However, they only lowered them 25 basis points. A lot of us were hoping for a 50 basis point cut, but we did get 25. The Fed also is now forecasting 2 additional cuts. I'm not going to get too excited about those because I anticipate there'll be November and December of another 25 basis points each. But that at least gives us some room to operate, knowing where we're going to be between now and the end of the year. But as we ended August, the portfolio had returned just 2.64 on a internal rate of return basis. The yield on the portfolio was up to 3.85. Now, I think we're pretty much kind of reaching our apex here with rates beginning to fall off on the shorter end. That's going to affect us across the board. It won't be a parallel shift where everything falls from the 2-year to the 10-year, but we will see yields drop somewhat over on our portfolio between now and the end of the year. But we are our portfolio at August was 385, and I hope we can keep it there. The average life of the portfolio was about just under 3 years. We'll keep it there at 3 years for now through the end of the year till we see how the Fed rate cuts go. We've earned a little over $300,000. Again, that is from January through August, and that compares, it's right on top of the numbers we earned for fiscal year 25. I anticipate we'll see about the same numbers since rates are falling for FY 26. We do think you're going to see between $450,000 and $500,000 for FY 26 in the portfolio as it continues to grow, even in face of the drop in interest rates. Mr. Chairman, that is our report.
Thank you very much. Any questions? We appreciate what you do for us.
Thank you, Bill.
Get that rate of return up around 6.
Will do. I'll do that.
Thank you very much.
Gladly.
Okay, Amanda, let's come back to you for item number 5,
Okay.
defense attorney approval.
We have 6 attorneys on the agenda. They are all from Jax Griffith and Luciano practice out of Cleveland. We could get approval to add them to our attorney list. I'd also like to add that we're kind of overhauling our attorney list at the moment. So we're taking out a substantial number, like a really big number of attorneys that have requested to be taken off or that I've determined that are no longer practicing or practicing.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I knew we were doing that, and that's great.
Yes, sir.
Let's, do I have a motion to accept the recommendation to approve this list of 6 attorneys in the same firm?
Ted Lampson, I'll make that motion.
Okay, any discussion? The only comment I would like to add on this is going forward, let's make sure that we don't have conflicts within a firm. We had one of those issues in the past, and where the firm was asking to add a lawyer to a case. And that way they would have been suing the state and representing the state. And we really need to try to avoid that. And I'm just mentioning that as a reminder. I know we went through all of that, but when you add 6 in a small firm, the chances of that, I won't say are greater, but there is a chance of that. So we just need to be aware of that going forward. And just be ready to deal with it. Yep. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Ayes have it. Let's move right back to you, Ed.
Okay, Steve has provided his risk management report. It's pretty self-explanatory. You guys know that he does the fair every year, and that's coming up in 2 weeks from today. I've been very active in communications and have been out to the fairgrounds quite a few times to make sure that all the business as far as filling potholes and making sure everything is on task. So I actually went out there this morning for one last final before the official final roll through on my golf cart. So I'll be taking over Steve's responsibilities for that while he's out. And I don't think we really need to.
Yeah, well, and thank you for doing that. As I looked through the report, there really wasn't anything in there that stood out to me, but thank you for taking that on in his absence. And he will continue to be in our prayers.
Thank you.
We've already talked about, no, we hadn't either, optional renewal of actuarial services. And Patrick, I think I'll go to you on that.
Sure.
Right?
It's just time to renew our actuarial contract. We're currently working with the Burkhalter Group, and I think we've done that in the past for a while. I would ask, this is an exempted contract because it is an actuarial contract. We would ask that the board approve moving forward with executing a new contract.
No, this is just exercising the.
Oh, excuse me.
The
Exercising the additional year.
year, yeah.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions? Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. So we'll move forward with that. We'll move on to new business if we have any. I don't think we do.
That I know
And at this point in time, I still don't have this down, but I'm going to entertain a motion to go into executive session. I did remember that I can do that, and now I'm going to ask Kim to make that motion.
Well, actually, no, we actually need a motion to go into a closed session to determine whether an executive session is necessary.
Okay, well then I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session to determine whether executive session is necessary. I'll get this down eventually. Second,
There's no second necessary, so it can go to a vote.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
So with the closed
Just a
session.
second, turn the stream off, please.
matters. I don't. Unless somebody has something. And if not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, in a
I'll
second.
This is Kim, second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. The ayes have it, and thank you everyone for coming to the meeting today. I appreciate your continued service and help with the tort claims board.